Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to the channel. So once again, we have some more Battlefield 6 leaks and data mines to go over, and this one is actually quite promising because for the first time, at least that I'm hearing it, it sounds like we're going to be getting Commander mode back, and there's also been some references found to various server browser functionality as well. Now, I wouldn't get your hopes up too much about the server browser thing. We've already heard that skill-based matchmaking is going to be in the game to some degree or another, and outside of team balancing, there's no real reason that you need that if you're going to let servers handle everything, so that remains to be seen. There's also been a mention of spectator mode as well, and then we have a really nice overview of each of the 4 classes in the game with all of the field specializations, the loadout customization, some cosmetics, all that good stuff. So without further ado, if you guys enjoy the content here on the channel, make sure you're subscribed. Plenty more to come on the next Battlefield game. I think the reveal is pretty close right now. It's going to be sometime during the summer, so could be June, could be July, could be August, somewhere around then, and the release probably not that far afterwards later on this year, and when it does come out, I'm going to be all over that. So exciting times ahead, and of course, I'm going to be covering everything here on the channel. So let's begin here with some of the data mines from the most recent Battlefield Labs test. This is coming out of the 1BF data miners, and all these things aren't really related to one another. They're just random little tidbits that he's apparently found in the files here. As always, guys, going forward, take everything with a grain of salt. I know you guys usually know this, but I always have to say it. Any of these things found in the game could easily change, so just bear that in mind. So first of all here, Commander mode is mentioned. So we have join as Commander, is Commander, and then Commander enabled. We haven't really heard any confirmation from DICE about this feature coming back. As for how that's going to work, my guess is really as good as your guys's. I think it's very difficult to have a single player act as the Commander and get his teammates or the squads in the game or in the team to really follow the command. I think it was really more about just spamming abilities in past Battlefield games like BF4, such as the cruise missile. It wasn't so much about coordinating your team. So how are they going to approach that with a new game? I don't know, that's kind of interesting. A free play mode has been mentioned, Battlefield Experience _F2P. So that's not really a big surprise. We know we're getting a Battle Royale. It's not surprising that this time DICE make the right decision and make it a free-to-play experience. There are server modes from Battlefield 3 and 4, such as Private, Ranked, Unranked, and Official. So this could be hinting at the server browser features that we've already heard about for the Portal mode, Portal 2.0, which is of course coming back again for Battlefield 6. These are presumably then some of the filters that you can use to search with there. Then we have Horses, Boats, Air Superiority with Behemoths a la Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, Passive 3D Spotting, something related to the weather, Competitive Mode, are all mentioned. So that's a lot. Wait a minute. Horses? That cannot be correct, right? Like I told you guys, we have to take this with a pinch of salt because at the end of the day, the 1BF channel, it's basically, as far as you understand it, a Russian Telegram channel that is data mining the game, and sometimes things get a little bit lost in translation, but how are horses going to fit into a game in this era? Boats, though, and air superiority, that sounds awesome. We've, of course, already seen the rib boats in the concept art, so it may just be that, may not necessarily be attack boats and what we really want from the game. But the Behemoth thing also sounds interesting there from Battlefield 1 and 5. Passive 3D spotting, I guess that comes as no surprise there. It's been in all of the past Battlefield games. Then we've got spectator mode with first and third person views, a free camera, and a photo mode in general are mentioned. So really, really great to see that. Spectator mode was sorely missed in the past Battlefield game, and honestly, I just really like seeing some of the interesting cinematics that people managed to capture with the spectator mode by disabling the HUD, but also with the competitive mode apparently being mentioned there, then spectator mode has got to be a given. And then on the factions here, of course, we're getting that PAX PMC versus NATO, but some of these sort of sub-factions are going to be Britain, Japan, Italy, Russia, Germany, France, and the USA in different variations. Europe and Pacifica are mentioned, so that's pretty cool here to see some of those. Servers also have settings for changing sides at a new round, and several rounds on one map and one mode. So this is something that was criticized, of course, in Battlefield 2042, so nice to see that that's changing. They've confirmed a capture the flag mode, and then they've also mentioned a second chance mechanic, basically like the Gulag from Warzone, this sounds like, where you will likely face off against another player in some sort of second chance scenario, and this, I would assume then, is going to be for the Battle Royale. So more stuff here on the server browser, a few data mines, server rental mentions, so it sounds like that program may be coming back where individual players or communities can just rent their own servers, and then a few server browser mentions here, server browser filter, server browser favorites, and server browser history. Again, I would assume that all of these things are for the portal mode, so I wouldn't go getting your hopes up that it's coming for the main game. I really think that is extremely unlikely, but I guess we'll tell soon enough. The new build apparently now has a new folder, SP, which of course stands for single player, and the single player voice acting is only in English for now, but the rest of the voice acting for different languages has already been prepared, so they've probably just yet to record that and actually put it into the game files. An anti-cheat installer has also been added to the game, most likely the EA anti-cheat system, which is EA's new system that they've moved on from since I think they were using was the easy anti-cheat before that. Okay, let's move on to some of the class descriptions now. So these are basically composite images of all of the various leaks and data mines, and then they've been put all together. So this is not an actual leak from the game or anything, this is just all the information that we have so far. So first up is the Assault class. I don't want to spend too much time on each of these slides, so if you guys want to read them in detail, feel free to pause the video. Up in the top left here, you can see the factions. So we've got Pax Armata, the Albaran Patrol, which seems to be a sub-faction, and then the United Kingdom there for NATO, and we've got two different characters, Ruben Quinter and then Wisp. I would personally prefer if all the characters in the game were just nameless, faceless soldiers. I am aware that a lot of you guys agree with me. Maybe some of you guys disagree with me. Let me know down below as well. But I hope that it's just going to be cosmetic only, and they're definitely not thinking about any hero shooter nonsense. So for the loadout customization, you've got pretty much what you'd expect to see from the Assault class. You will notice here that there is no medic crate, so we're not going back to the Battlefield 4 Assault class. And basically as your class gadget, you have the Adrenaline Injector, which I'm assuming is like the Stim from 2042. The Flame Round Shotgun sounds interesting, like incendiary rounds there, probably an underbarrel attachment. And then we've also got so many grenade launchers. There's the Blast one here, so, you know, high explosive and anti-vehicle are pretty self-explanatory, but what does the Blast grenade launcher do? Maybe that's for taking down buildings or destruction there. And then also there's a breaching projectile launcher, which sounds like that could be a breaching charge. For the grenades here, pretty standard loadout here. Also the contact grenade, which I think was in BF4 as well, where essentially as soon as it makes contact with any surface, the ground, a soldier, it will just explode. Now, I do like the inclusion of field specializations again in this game. This means that effectively, instead of having 4 classes, we have 4 classes, but now we have 8 subclasses, which really just opens up to different playstyles. So for the Assault class, we've got Frontline, and then we have Commando. Now, some of these perks seem pretty standard and like a fairly subtle buff to your overall performance on the battlefield, but then some of them seem really, really, really good. So for example, here in the Commando line, the very first one here that I'm going to assume you begin with, right? And then as you get experience, you go up through the tiers. The first one says reveal nearby enemy gadgets, negate movement speed penalty while firing, and switch weapons faster. That is a lot of perks to be giving one class on the very first tier of this tree. However, I have seen over on Twitter that Temporal, who of course you'll know for data mining, he did actually reply here to Enders, and he said that most of the problematic, as he puts it, field specializations have been significantly nerfed in the latest patch. And he gives that one there as an example, and he says now it just reduces movement speed penalty while firing, not any of the other stuff. So it seems that DICE are aware that some of these are maybe a little bit too good in the game, and they are making some changes there. So once again, take this with a grain of salt. But again, look at number 4 here, Stimulant Mark II. I believe this probably changes the combat stim here, your class gadget, into something more effective. And it says use an enhanced combat stimulant that can reveal enemies in addition to the usual effects, and kills prolong the duration. So that sounds uncannily like it could be wall hacks. I sincerely hope they've learnt their lesson with Pike. I hope they've looked at Delta Force and they've looked at Luna there and the Recon Arrow and how that is universally hated. We definitely don't need wall hacks in Battlefield games, guys. Moving on to the engineer class then, I would like to point out, by the way, like, whilst I'm not a fan of individual soldiers per se, I will say that the cosmetics that we're seeing here in the background, they do look pretty good. Again, I'm not sure if these are just inspired by what they've seen. I don't know if this is something that they've drawn here or they've actually pulled these from the files. But yeah, if that's what the game's going to look like, I'm all for it. So gadgets here, again, pretty standard stuff for an engineer. You've got the javelin, it looks like. You've got the RPG, you've got the stinger, you've got a motion sensor, which I actually think is wrong. I believe that is the new rushing grenade that goes up in the air and does a top-down attack on the tank. Repair tool for the class gadget, regular throwables. The first perk there in the anti-vehicle tree, slow down vehicles you heavily damage, gain extra rockets, and reveal vehicles that you damage. Again, that kind of sounds to me like it's wall hacks, or at the very least like 3D spawning on the vehicle if you damage it. And, you know, that as well as extra rockets, as well as slowing vehicles. That sounds like a major pain in the ass if you're in a vehicle. And as soon as any engineer hits you with a rocket, you're slowed. Like if you're in a tank, that's got to be majorly annoying. So I really hope they rethink that one. Deploy a suicide drone capable of disrupting vehicles upon detonation. It's kind of hard to read into that. It could be really good. Could be totally pants, to be honest with you. So I guess we'll have to see how that one plays out. And then again here, the fourth one in the tree for the mechanic, enhance the repair tool while on foot and or to instantly heal the vehicle that you occupy. So many questions, like, are you healing it 100% of its HP, no matter what the HP is? Is it just like a 30% heal? Are we also going to be getting the self-repair equipables for the vehicles that you can stack on top of that? I don't know. Again, this sounds like something that could be like a little bit too good, but maybe I'm overreacting there. So then moving over to the support class, this is, it looks like, where you're going to get all of your ammo and your health. So you can see for the class gadget, we have the supply crate, and there's also a supply pouch. And I'm going to assume that both of these give you ammo and health, since they don't really seem to be like differentiating between them. Something else interesting here, of course, is that we have this grenade interceptor, which I think we'll all be familiar with, but then there's also a missile interceptor as well. Taking a look at the field specializations, the medic one looks very powerful. Again, looking at the fourth perk here in the tree, and I'm aware this is the last perk, right? It's probably hard to get that far, but it says heal others as if you were a supply crate and revive much faster for a limited time. So I guess first of all, that confirms that supply crates do indeed heal people, but that sounds like you're going to be like a mobile, constantly healing supply crate without ever having to drop one. That may be a little bit too good. And then again here, the first one in the tree for the fire support, resupply ammo faster, transition from prone faster, aim faster, and move while aiming faster using LMGs. That just sounds like stacking a lot of different buffs here that is maybe a little bit over the top for the first one. Finally, we have the Scout or the Recon class, and again here for gadgets, you've got pretty much what you would expect. The Recon drone looks like they're taking a leaf out of Casper's book there. The laser designator, deploy beacon, etc. Nothing really too new or crazy here for a Battlefield game. For the field specializations, however, again, number 4 on the intel tree here, call in a mortar support strike where you are aiming. Now, we don't have mortars as a gadget in this game. We have seen it for the Recon class in previous Battlefield games, and they were kind of cheesy, kind of annoying. I know the community is pretty split on them, whether they should be in Battlefield in general or not. This is, I'm sure, going to be like a one-off call-in. How powerful is it going to be? That is anybody's guess. And then similarly here for the Pathfinder tree, down at the bottom, you can call in a UAV, and also the number 3 one there, silent movement, move more silently. That also sounds particularly potent. So, interesting stuff. Like I say, they are obviously changing these, and a part of Battlefield Labs' testing is not just going to be building the game so that it's free of bugs and it performs well and the netcode is good, but it's also going to be largely about balancing the game. So I'm assuming that they're working with the community in order to do just that. They probably are going to iterate on a lot of these traits, and you're going to see them change over the next months leading up to the release. So I wouldn't really worry about these all too much. But as always, guys, leave me your thoughts down below. What do you think about all of this? All of the little tidbits we went over with the server browser, the commander mode, all the different class information here. Leave that down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it today. Subscribe for more Battlefield. Going to be plenty more of that to come in the future. And I'll see you all in the next one.